Hi, today we're going to talk about embossing. Embossing is a process where we stamp the sheet and give the image a raised defence. To do this, we use a letterpress printing machine called a Heidelberg Platen and also an embossing block like this. The Heidelberg Platen is a truly remarkable piece of German engineering, and we're going to show you how Heidelberg Platen works, which will give you a better understanding of how we do embossing. The Heidelberg Platen is sometimes called the Heidelberg helicopter because of its rotating gripper bars. When the machine is turned on at the wall, you can see a belt drives the flywheel. The machine operates on a clutch system similar to a manual car. When the clutch is released, the machine starts. Years ago, the Heidelberg Platen used to be used for printing, so we put the printing rollers in to show how they move. When the rollers are in the top position, they're collecting ink. When the rollers are in the bottom position, they're applying ink to the type. This is the impression handle. When activated, it puts the pressure onto the paper. The safety barrier, which acts as a guard to the gripper bars, is the only piece of safety equipment on the press. This machine has its own mechanical compressor, which gives it suction. This suction is needed to pick up the sheet before transferring it to the gripper bars. The gripper bar takes the sheet through to the press, prints it, and releases it in the one motion. We don't need the rollers to emboss, so we're going to remove them for this purpose. This is a stage where we prepare our packing. First we cut out a cover sheet, which goes onto the platen, and this will hold our packing sheets in place. Good clean packing sheets are vital to have a nice flat and soft platform for the embossing to work. Packing sheets usually consist of two pieces of 80 GSM bond in between two sheets of 250 GSM card. After the packing sheets are secured behind the cover sheet, the whole lot is held together by these steel bars. Finally, we tidy it up by trimming the excess paper off the edges. Locking up the chase is a term used in printing to describe setting up the block in position inside this metal frame called a chase. This is the coin and coin key, spelt with a Q. When you turn the coin key in a clockwise direction, it tightens the coin against the chase. When we do this, we lock all of the type and the embossing block in place, allowing it to be put into the press. Now the locked chase can be placed inside the press. After putting a layer of ink over the embossing block, we take a print onto paper to make sure it's printing in the right position. Using a ruler, we check that the embossing block is in the right position on the paper. Winding this handle in or out gives more or less impression on the sheet. The embossing block isn't in exactly the correct position, so we take the chase out, unlock it, and move the block. We lock the chase up again, making sure that everything is tight, and put it back into the press. Now we take our second print. Again, we check the position to make sure that it's correct. When we're 100% happy with the position, we take a print onto the packing. To successfully emboss, we not only need an embossing block, but we need a product called Pragoplast. Pragoplast is a very rubbery and elastic substance, and this forms the mould that goes in the recessed areas of the embossing block. The first thing to do is to line the Pragoplast up to the printed image and then mark it with a pen, ready to trim. Using a sharp knife, we now trim the Pragoplast to the sides of the embossing block. Next we take the backing off the Pragoplast and attach it to the printed image on the packing. This way we get it lined up directly with the embossing block. After cleaning the ink off the embossing block, we start the press and then we take an impression from the embossing block to the Pragoplast. Now comes the fiddly bit. Using a sharp knife, we trim around the outsides of the embossing image. That way we get an embossed image only where we want it and not on the non-image area. You'll notice as we trim the Pragoplast, the top layer is being removed, showing the red layer underneath. The top layer of the Pragoplast, which is cream, is the area that we need to form the mould inside the embossing block. Again, we make some minor adjustments to the pressure. Now it's time to take our first print on card to see how it's embossing. After the first print, we can see that there are a few jagged edges, so it's time to go back and trim the Pragoplast a bit more and fine-tune our image. This part of the embossing process requires a great deal of patience. You have to slice as close as you can to the edge of the embossed image to make sure that you get a nice, clean and clear print. However, if you cut any of the embossed image off or slice through it, it's back to the drawing board and you have to start the whole process all over again. Again, we make further adjustments to the pressure. Time to take another print to see how we're looking. When we're happy that the embossing is exactly the way we want, we place a piece of protective film over the entire Pragoplast. Now that the embossing make ready is complete, we can print the job. Thank you for watching this video. We hope now you have a better understanding of how embossing works and also the Heidelberg platen. Don't forget you can check us out at www.simplyprint.net.